Welcome to the Kansas Division of Emergency Management, Kansas Planner Training for Essential Support Functions 6, Mass Care, Housing, and Human Services. Our presentation will be an overview of ESF 6, the Kansas Planning Standards. The Kansas Planning Standards for the 2014, attached here is the link. And we'll be into the program of how to complete the ESF 6 in the Kansas planning system. Once you've signed in to the Kansas Planner system and you get this main menu, in the middle you will highlight that county's name that is in there and type in your county's name and then pick your emergency operations plan. Once you're in there, click on Annexes. And then you'll go to Annex Details. Within the Annex Details, you will pick your support agencies, who is going to be your coordinating agency, primary, and support agencies. And then click Save. After you've done that, you will click on Customize Annex. And up on the left, there will be a drop-down screen, and you will click on Concept of Operations. Once that screen comes up, under A, General, you will add the following information. First topic is sheltering capabilities and operations. You'll provide an overview of the county's approach to shelter operations. Then you'll identify agencies responsible for determining structural soundness of shelters. Identify the actions taken to identify and open emergency shelters, and identify the personnel that will staff emergency shelters for short term, which is less than 72 hours, and then also for long term, which is more than 72 hours. You describe how the jurisdiction will ensure physical, pragmatic accessibility of shelter facilities, effective communications using multiple methods, full access to emergency services, and reasonable modifications of programs or policies where needed. Then you will describe how the public will be informed of the availability and location of mass care facilities, and you will describe the mechanisms or processes for handling and providing for unaccompanied minors in shelters. You will also identify agencies responsible for security at the public shelters in coordination with ESF 13. You will describe the process for handling registered sex offenders, parolees, and other individuals required to report to local, state, and federal law enforcement entities in public shelters with coordination with ESF 13. Describe how shelters will keep evacuees informed about the status of the disaster, including information about actions evacuees may need to take when returning home. Describe arrangements in place with other jurisdictions for receiving their assistance in sheltering, including providing shelters when it is not practical locally. That is when you have no ability to shelter within your county. And then you will touch on short and long-term housing. Describe the process to coordinate with housing authorities and ESF 14 for short and long-term recovery efforts. And then you will describe emergency relief supplies. Identify and describe the actions taken to provide food to citizens dependent on food programs. Describe the plans, methods, and agency organizations responsible for the distribution and sustained distribution of emergency relief and essential care items. Then you'll describe the method by which necessary supplies for adults and children with access or functional needs will be obtained. Identify and describe the actions that will be taken to identify and address the general public's unmet needs during the disaster. And then under the heading of vulnerable needs, you will need to describe how ESF 6 will coordinate with the local and state ADA coordinator for compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. You'll also describe how those vulnerable needs are identified and how those identified needs will be met. Then identify agencies responsible to provide and support long-term care and assisted living facilities, group home housing individuals with vulnerable needs, and others with access and functional needs. Then you will identify agencies responsible for providing care and support for institutionalized population. Next topic will be disaster survivors. You identify and describe the actions that will be taken to notify or inform the public about the status of injured or missing relatives. Next topic is hazard materials situations. You will outline plans for reception and care for nuclear plant evacuees. Include a description of how evacuees will be informed of shelter and lodging availability and locations. Describe where contamination, screening, and decontamination will occur. Describe the methods used to identify, screen, and handle evacuees exposed to hazards posed by the disaster, and the method used to keep the shelter free of contamination. In animal sheltering pre-event, you'll provide an overview of the county's approach to animal sheltering operations. Describe the partnerships between the jurisdiction's emergency management agency, the animal control authority, and the owner of each proposed congregate household pet sheltering facilities. Provide an estimated number of pets that may require animal sheltering services. This is in the 2014 Kansas Planning Standards. On page 22, if you have it available, there is a table that needs to be filled out and put into the plan at this part of the plan. And that is what it looks like. Under shelter operations, describe how shelters will be operated for animal sheltering, how you're going to register, and the return process of animals. Identify, describe the actions that will be taken to address the long-term care, permanent relocation, or disposal of unclaimed pets. And then touch on another topic of cohabitation sheltering if applicable. Identify how cohabitation sheltering will meet requirements for human and animal sheltering. And then when you are done adding all that information in at the bottom, you will click Save. And then next you will go to Annex Actions. And within Annex Actions, you'll pick the action and click on Edit. And within there, on the third tab, you will click what agencies are responsible for this action. So if it's sometimes the all is clicked, and if not, all the agencies listed will do or help within this action, unclick all and then click on, make sure there's a check mark by the agencies that are going to be responsible for this action, and then click Save. And then on the fourth tab in, it's the hazards. You pick the hazards that this action is associated with, and then click Save. In the file archives, you'll choose the category, provide a description of the document, choose the file from your computer, and can add up to 4 files at one time in the same category, and then upload the files identified. The required attachments are: include a list of local reception and care facilities, and include the number of people and hours of the day facility is occupied. List of resources to include equipment, personnel, services, and contracts. Then list and contact information for interpreters within your county. List and contact information for potential shelters. List and contact information for shelter managers. List and contact information of volunteer organizations that can provide human services and animal support during emergencies and the services that they provide. then a list and contact information for animal shelters, and then the list and contact information of veterinarians or animal medical personnel. And then ESF 6 is completed. Remember, this is your county plan. Provide any and all information you think is important. This is your foundation that you stand on when your county is in a disaster. And remember that if you are not available to activate your plan, that your plan is precise and has enough information in it that someone else can stand in for you and activate your plan and know where everything is at. If you have any questions while you're creating or updating your plan, please give me a call at the information below. And thank you.